Hey everybody, Crunky here. Wanted to give you a quick heads up that we now have a Patreon page. This is a sneak peek at our bonus episode that's going up on our Patreon page. Again, this show is not changing at all. We just have some bonus content going up there. If you are interested in merchandise or becoming a Patreon to get the bonus episodes, do it at the link in this episode. Until then, I will see you guys next week. Enjoy this clip of our bonus episode that is a sneak peek of our top 10 16-bit era games. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.
Welcome to Go Lurk Yourself More, a bonus podcast from the people that brought you Go Lurk Yourself. I am Cherry Cake.
I'm Crunky.
And this week, guys, we've got something interesting for the first bonus episode, I guess. We're going to be covering...
Really? Tell us more.
Shut up. We're going to be covering, which is essentially a top 10, but Crunky is going to do 5, and I'm going to do a top 5 as well. We are going to compare. I'm going to do Mega Drive games, and Crunky is going to do SNES games.
Wait. What the hell is a Mega Drive?
Oh, for the US listeners.
No, for everyone other than the UK, it was called the
What's it actually called, the Genesis, everywhere else?
Well, I'm sure Japan had a different name.
Oh, well, once again, that is a staple of the UK just being awkward. So, apologies to overseas listeners. It will be the Mega Drive / Genesis top 5.
Who you call it overseas? You guys are the overseas ones. Wait.
Okay.
Is this a paradox?
For anybody that isn't in the UK, is the Genesis. Okay.
If you live in the lost city of Atlantis, we apologize for not knowing what your system is called. I'm assuming it's something to do with water, right? Isn't everything down there water?
I think so.
Does everybody know their Greek mythology? Come on.
Oh, no.
You're supposed to get saying my jokes, Cherry. Don't leave me hanging out there to dry.
I'm laughing on the inside.
Oh, okay. Well, that's as long as everyone can... Oh, wait, no, they can't see or hear that.
Well, just imagine, I guess.
So what we're trying to do this week is... This is a bi-weekly podcast, right? The bonus episodes?
Yeah, it's twice a month, yeah.
We're going to make our case for our favorite systems of the 16-bit era and what games are our top 5 games. And at the end, there will be a clear winner, and the loser has to scour the earth, destroying all known copies of that system. No, I'm just kidding.
You better be kidding.
This is for fun. I mean, if you guys are on Twitter, go tweet the @GLY podcast or at either one of us your favorite 16-bit game, or tell us why we're wrong about our list, what we missed, because we definitely want to hear about it.
Yeah, totally. We should mention that this is a Patreon exclusive, guys. So for anyone that has decided to invest in one of the tiers, you will be listening to this right now. So Thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much for following us on Patreon. That kind of support is why this show gets made. Without your guys' support, we don't make this show. And if you are a Patreon and you enjoy this, tell somebody about it. Help us spread the word. This is bonus episode number 1. We don't even have an actual full title for it yet. We're recording it, calling it episode number 1. So get out there and spread the love for us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and if you guys do like this sort of content and we do get enough support, we will probably end up putting out some more episodes, more than twice a month. So if you do like it, if you like listening to us talk about random trash, tell someone.
Random trash. Come on. This is not random trash. This is what we're passionate about. Video games. This is fucking important.
Well, this one is video games. Who knows what we're going to do in the future?
That's true. We are big Simpsons nerds. If you've been a long time listener of our show, we did a Simpsons episode.
Yeah, we probably will end up doing something on the Simpsons in the future. So
you can't stop us, so don't even try. I don't care how many letters you guys write, how many people you take hostage, and anyway, we've all seen Die Hard. We know how this ends.
Yeah, you get pushed off a building. So.
Yippee-ki-yay, Captain Falcon. That was a high quality joke right there. I mixed two things together.
Oh no, you've peaked, Ron.
I've peaked. We might as well end the episode here. See you guys next week. Bye.
Anyway, shall we get into it?
Let's do it.
Okay. Do you want to go first? Or would you like me to go?
I think it would only be fair to let the Mega Drive go first, since we all know they're going to lose.
Oh no! It's, go
ahead. Tell me I'm wrong.
I was thinking about this actually because we were brainstorming like topics that we could do for this bonus episode, and Crunk actually, I suggested the top 10, and then Crunk came up with the Mega Drive versus the SNES, and it's documented in the past that Crunk isn't the biggest fan of the Mega Drive, but I feel like that is because you grew up on SNES, though, right? On Nintendo, didn't you?
Yeah, so I had a friend of mine that grew up down the street from me who had a Sega Genesis, and we would trade. So I played quite a bit of it, and when I jokingly, like on my stream, will shit on it for the fun, because I'm from the era where that was the whole SNES versus Genesis like marketing campaign, and like I actually saw the commercials after school of Sega does what Nintendo don't. That was a marketing campaign. Yeah. Sega in the US came around and they were like, hey kids, we're the hip new cool fun thing, and Mario's losers for babies, and like
he's right.
Yeah, it's like he's fast. Nintendo can't go this fast. I mean, did you see that Sonic the Hedgehog go around in a ball and spin around like a freaking pinball? Mario can't do that. He's a fat old plumber. I mean, think about it. Mario is a fat, overweight plumber with a mustache running around tripping on mushrooms chasing dragons. I mean, he is a pretty weird character to boot.
Yeah. I mean, well, hang on. If you're going to compare them, what is Sonic the Hedgehog, all right? He's a blue hedgehog that wears shoes and can run fast, all right? He's fast. But if you're going to talk weird, you can't put Mario away from Sonic because they're both just as weird as each other. Yeah, but Sonic has like a this 80s or an early 90s aesthetic. He's got the attitude. You may not know that was a trope in the 90s. Like all kids shows or preteen stuff all had to be like, yeah, man, I'm too cool for school. He holds his thumb up at the end, and he gives this I don't give a shit attitude look to the camera at the end of the stages. He was different for the time. You have to remember it was a simpler time, Cherry. We didn't have the internet, and we didn't have all this cool stuff. We didn't have Harry Potter yet. Harry Potter wasn't even a thing yet. Think about that. Do you know what? I wish it hadn't even been a thing. But anyway, polarize the audience.
Let's really alienate our fan base. Hey, all you Harry Potter fans, fuck you.
I did not. In so many words, I didn't say that. I'm not a Harry Potter.
No, that was me saying it just straight. I wasn't making a joke.
Oh, okay. I'm
just kidding, Harry Potter fans. Please don't firebomb my house.
Okay, that and Lord of the Rings can go do one.
Oh,
that's something for another time anyway.
All right, yeah, that'll be the top 10 reasons we hate Lord of the Rings episodes.
No, because that would require I would have to watch it.
No, that would be the best part of it. It's like, I've still never seen them and I hate it. So anyway, we were talking about Mega Drive, I think.
Yeah, we were. So we put kind of like a loose 1 to 5 ranking on these. Mine generally don't really rank in any order, but I did it quickly because Crunk has actually put his...
You gotta start with 5, right? Don't start with 1.
Yeah, okay. Start with the lowest one,
You scared me there. I was worried.
I'm not gonna go right in hot, am I? Right from the top?
Who do you think you are, Sonic?
Hey, don't diss Sonic. Anyway, right, my number 5 for the Mega Drive is... I think me and you talked about this briefly on the last podcast.
I believe you mean you and I talked about it.
Oh, I hate you so much right now.
Okay, what was it?
Ooh, you're not in the same room, so I can't even punch you. We briefly talked about it on the last podcast because we were going over the Nintendo Direct. But my number 5 is Road Rash.
Road Rash is a great game, and I did play that on Genesis. Yeah,
this one I have really, really fun. In fact, all of these on my list I have really fond memories of because I did grow up with the Mega Drive. But Road Rash in particular, because I think it was kind of my first introduction to like violence in a video game.
What is this feeling? Bloodlust coming over me. I love it. Let's go to school and beat kids up now. Did you take a billy club to school and beat someone in the face with it?
No, I took a crowbar.
Now, you do ride a bike these days, right? You do ride a motorcycle to work and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know if that was...
Those seeds were planted here. Do you have a billy club or a crowbar on the back of your bike?
Question, what is a billy club?
It's from England. The stick that you hit people with, the cops hit people with. What do you guys call it?
Oh, you like...
A baton.
Yeah. What do you call it?
They call it... I've seen them in like old 50s movies called billy clubs. Just like a stick that cops hit people.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
Look at that game in Road Rash, there were a bunch of weapons. There were chains and whips
Oh, yeah.
But there was just a club.
Yes.
Like a rounded off club. That I always called that a billy club because I'm old.
Oh, well, fair enough. I think it was just called a club actually in the game.
Okay, fair enough.
So yeah, this was kind of like my first introduction because I had never come across a game that had literally the point of it was to smack other riders and knock them off. Yeah, I just wail on them and attempt to get to first place and finish in first on your bike. But you do, like, obviously come across other, as you get further into the game, you come across other riders that they get increasingly violent and they start smacking you with stuff as well. One of my favourite weapons in that one actually is it's like what do you call them? Like a flail. It's like a flail, but it's electrified. So when you hit them, they would like light up like with electricity, and it was almost like a one shot, and they would be off. But that was like, I think you had to be quite a few levels into the game to actually access that.
Yeah, they don't just give up the goods right away. You got to earn those.
No, you get garbage stuff like the club and probably a crowbar. I think it was as well.
I believe you mean Billy Club.
Shut up, Billy Club. Then
was that the one? Is this a false memory? Because I literally have not played this game since the 90s.
Yeah.
Could you stick a stick in the spokes of the enemy's tires, and make their bikes flip?
No, you couldn't, unfortunately.
Okay.
But my God,
right.
that would have been funny if they had.
Right.
I feel like that would have been too heavy on the graphics for them to actually implement that at that time.
Right, the 16-bit processor can only handle so much.
Yeah.
We can either have 3 bikes or 1 bike flipping. We can't have all 3.
One of the other reasons that this made my list actually was as like, along with it being my introduction to violence, which, just FYI people, I'm not a violent person in real life. I enjoy it. Shut up. I enjoy it in video games, but in real life I'm very tame. But the other reason was because it's actually a co-op game as well. And as I've mentioned before, I have a brother and sister, so there's 3 of us. So there was an opportunity for me to play against my brother or my sister, and just being really kind of inclusive in the game as well. And even if my brother and sister were playing it and I was just spectating, I loved watching them play it because I loved watching them beat the absolute crap out of other people and themselves.
I was going to say, what she's really saying there, it was so inclusive and we could be a family together and beat the shit out of each other.
Pretty much, yeah. Basically it.
I'm not a violent person. I just love any excuse to beat the hell out of my brother and sister. I got it.
Yeah. Which, throughout this list, you might find a reoccurrence.
A theme may emerge.
I may need help. Anyway.
Well,
so that's it
if you're ready for the SNES, my number 5 is F-Zero. Have you ever played this?
Ooh, I have. Is it F-Zero or F-Zero X?
F-Zero was the first one. It was on the SNES.
I think I played F-Zero X, but...
Okay. Now, F-Zero was sort of like if you've played the original Mario Kart, Super Mario Kart on the SNES.
Yeah.
It used that Mode 7 angled vector graphics. I don't know exactly what the tech's called. I think it's called Mode 7, but basically it allowed for the first time in a video game ever for you to have this really fast sense of speed in a racing game. And of course, Nintendo polished it up and made it futuristic, and your cars actually floated, and it was a deep racing sim. Like if you guys listening have never played F-Zero for the SNES, there was really nothing like it on home consoles at the time. There were some really good racing games out on, the arcade, but at least for my however old 12-year-old brain at the time, 11-year-old brain at the time, there was nothing like that. And I literally sunk hours into getting that game, and it was difficult. It wasn't like a game that, like Mario Kart, you could sit down and do the whole campaign in one go. You had to like hone your skills to be able to beat some of those later courses and maps, and the AI was like super unforgiving. They would literally that game, you had a health meter, and if you hit the side rails, it would take it off. If you got hit by other cars or bumped into other cars, there were other racers, and then there were like pedestrian cars or other cars that were not racing. And if you hit any of them, you would take damage. Every lap, there was a lane you could go into to heal. And then you had to there was a point where you would get jumps, and you could You could shave off time by jumping corners. It was crazy for its time.
I think I need to look this up, but I think F-Zero X had a lot of the aspects of probably the original F-Zero.
Well, that was the Super Nintendo or the Nintendo 64 version, right?
I honestly can't remember.
Yeah, I played it. It had like you could go on the outside of like tubes and things like that, and the inside of tubes.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of that was in the SNES version.
Oh, okay, fair
everything
enough.
was flat. If you've ever played Mario Kart for the SNES, you'll know what I mean. That there was literally every map had to be flat as a pancake. But they did have jumps where you could jump off of them, but it was more of a like really advanced and cool for its era. There was a time, if people listening to this now who weren't around back then may not know, but there was a time where Nintendo was on the cutting edge of hardware. And the SNES and the N64 and those games were. And it was about the N64 era where Nintendo started saying, you know what? We don't need to be number one hardware to win. Our strength is in our game design. So they started becoming, they started letting power slip away as far as like console wars. Like, that's why the Switch is a small portable device that's not the most graphically powerhouse compared to the Xbox One X, but it's also highly portable. Yeah. The first time they started doing that was when probably when they decided on the N64 to split with Sony and not have a disc drive. They were like, no, we like cartridges. We like loading fast. We think the discs are too hard for kids to keep care of. And
well, they were wrong. Yeah.
Then the GameCube came out and it was literally like a little lunch pail.
I remember having the GameCube. Cute little thing.
So anyway, that's my number 5. What's your number 4, Cherry, for the Mega Drive?
Yeah, my number 4, similar in the vein of Road Rash, is actually one called Skitchin. And I'm not entirely sure you've heard of this one.
No.
So this one, I meant to look it up, but I can't actually say that I have. We were undecided if it had only been like a European release or something that hadn't made it to America.
Is this the one we looked up last week?
It's the one with where you are a rollerblader.
Wow, no, I don't know that one. Let's. I'm going to look it up real quick while we're talking about it. It was released on the Genesis as well. Yeah, it is a rollerblading game. You know what? I've seen this, but I've never played it.
Oh, okay. This is very similar in style, like along with Road Rash, in that you are basically a person. You're like this road racer who is trying to make a name for themselves, but they only have they hold like illegal races as like rollerbladers, and the same. The concept is that you have to get to the end of the course in the first place, and along the way you have you have weapons that you can use to defend yourself. I say defend, it's more like attack other players. And that's pretty much the basis of it. You, again, with the same style of Road Rash, you are moving, it's made to look like you're moving up the screen. It's not like a 2D side scroller or anything like that. So, that one, Skitchin, again, I have very, very fond memories of. I actually remember playing this one with my sister a lot. My brother wasn't particularly into this one. But it was co-op, again, which was always really cool. It's always useful when you've got siblings.
Inspired by Back to the Future character Marty McFly, players accomplish this by skitching, i.e. hanging off the back of moving vehicles in order to increase their speed and pass other riders.
Yeah. Well, you had to, like, there was almost like a speed gauge that you could increase, and the way to do that was, like you just said then, you would grab onto the back of cars, the cars would speed up, and then you would slingshot off the back of them, and you would go flying past everyone, and you just had to keep your momentum going, whilst avoiding other players, potholes that were in the road, roadworks that were also there, and there were also jumps in it as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the like off the track aspect was that you could upgrade your equipment that you had. So you had roller boots that you could like make better. I'm not entirely sure if they had any stats to them or anything, but they had different colours. So it was always something interesting to do. So the higher up,
and published by Electronic Arts.
Yes, yeah, it was an EA title. Yeah,
It was late in the game because it came out in '94.
Did it?
A worldwide release in 1994. Yeah.
Oh wow.
It was promoted in magazines with the advertisement that read "Skatin', hitchin', bitchin', and skitchin'."
Somehow, I don't think you'd be able to get away with that now.
That's such a 90s thing.
Oh, yeah.
Bitchin', man. And they wanted to make sure the American Slang Dictionary defines the word bitchin' as good, excellent, or superior.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was not intended as profanity. That's how they got away with it.
If you did that now, I don't think you'd be able to print that, regardless of like the definition of it.
Maybe if it was in Playboy magazine.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah, that was my number 4. What about you, Crank? What's your number 4?
My number 4 is a video game that I rode racehorses in a contest to be able to afford to pay for. There's a little backstory. My mom raised and raced horses when I was a kid, and I hated horses.
Sorry. I thought you were just giving a synopsis of the game that you were going to talk about then.
No, I literally rode a horse in a race for prize money to be able to buy this game.
Sorry, I just face planted so hard then. Anyway.
No. I said it incorrectly. So I get on this. We had this really fast horse, and it was a guys only race. And my mom and my sister couldn't get in. And my mom's like, just get on. The horse knows how to. There's like a pattern. You have to run these barrels in a pattern. And my mom goes, the horse knows it. All you got to do knows the pattern. All you got to do is kick it to go and pull back on the reins when it's time to stop.
Oh, wow.
And I won by like 6 seconds. It wasn't even close because this horse we had was crazy. But so I go to Kmart the next day, actually maybe on the way home, and I've got like $50-$60, whatever it was to get. I think it was $50 at the time to get this game. And in my hands, I'm holding 2 games. I have one of the most influential games, sought after games in the N64 or the SNES era, Earthbound, which is Mother 3 in Japan, right?
Yes.
Awesome, epic RPG. And on my other hand, I have Mario Paint, which is a kid's painting game. Huh. Guess which one I bought?
Guess Mario Paint.
It was Mario Paint.
Oh, man.
And while now I look back and wish I would have done something different at the time, it was absolutely what I wanted. I played Mario. You have to remember, this was before everybody had a computer in their house that had Windows Paint on it, right?
Yeah.
So being able to like digitally paint something or use stamps or make music that Mario Paint did was mind blowing. Not only that, but it came with a mouse and a mouse pad.
What? No way.
The game, yeah. It was this big case and it had a plastic mouse pad in it. And Mario Paint had a fly swatting mini game in it. It had a really, for its time, I don't remember any other game system doing this in America, at least, having a music editor. I was learning piano and guitar at this time.
Yeah.
So I was like enthralled by this for hours. I would spend putting notes on a staff and playing it, and you could change if you've ever seen any of these on YouTube, that people have like this homebrewed version of Mario Paint where they make these really complicated musical pieces. But you could literally, like, it has maybe 10, 15 songs saved in it when you start, kind of for you to play with and see how it works and tear apart. But for my, 11, 12-year-old brain, it was amazing. I absolutely loved it. I painted all kinds of stuff in it. I was an artist and a musician, so I loved all of that stuff. And I never really did go back and play couldn't get into Earthbound because Earthbound's just kiddie enough. It's just serious enough to like really blow kids' minds, but it's just kiddie enough that when you go back and try to play it as an adult, you're put off by the kiddie nature of it and the how old it is as an RPG. There's a lot of backtracking and trying to figure out where you're supposed to go next and that stuff. Ain't nobody got time for that. But
yeah, I've heard a lot of good things. There's like a little bit of a cult following with Earthbound. One of those games that I don't really get.
One of the cool things about Mario Paint, if you played it, when you played Super Mario Maker, you realize that it's basically a spiritual successor. All the icons and the noises and the sounds, like the little dog and stuff that's in there, that's all from Mario Paint.
Oh, nice. I was just doing a quick Google of it then, and I think you may have sent me a link to someone that would something like video on YouTube of someone that has done like an absolute masterpiece of a music track in Mario Paint.
You couldn't actually do those in the game. There was like limits to how much you could put in one thing because it was a 16-bit era system. But this new like mod people run on their computer, it obviously uses modern technologies. You could have infinite amount of stuff in it.
I'm blown away by people that can do that kind of thing, or have the patience to do that kind of thing, to be honest.
Well, when your alternative is going outside and playing with the dirt, Cherry, you know, we have YouTube to go screw off all day.
Well, if you're talking about mods, then this is going to be a recent thing, surely.
Oh, you mean the patience to make the mod? Yeah. Fandom does crazy stuff to people, Cherry. I mean, we're making a podcast right now about video games that we loved growing up.
Touche.
So what's your number 3 on the Mega Drive?
Ooh, my number 3 is your most loved mascot in the entirety of the Mega Drive.
Hey everybody, it's Crunky again. Just want to thank you for listening to this sneak peek of our Patreon episode. This is an advertisement for our Patreon page. You can find us over at patreon.com/GoLurkYourself, where you can get all the bonus content for as little as $2 a month. We have other tiers that include other access to merch and bonus features for the podcast. Please check it out, and I will see you next week. Bye!